Today we sit down with Mr. David Kalser, Vice President of Business Development with Vital Security. We discuss what brought him to Vital, selling the service, and what the future holds for Vital Security. All right, in order to be a great company, you got to make the sale first. You got to actually sign the contracts and bring in the business. And the guy who does that here at Vital Security is with me right now. So if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, your position here at Vital.
I'm David Kalser. I'm the Vice President of Business Development. I started with a large security company and I was with them for over 20 years. And I was getting to a point where I was going to retire. And rather than retire, I had a really good conversation with Todd and decided not to retire.
Okay.
I like Vital, I like Todd, and I thought it was a good place for me to continue my career.
How long have you been here with Vital now?
It's been almost 2 years.
Wow. You've lasted longer with Vital than most security companies last in this industry, right?
I know, it's amazing.
The turnover is unbelievable. David, you've been working for a larger company. Vital is more of a boutique company, although you have contracts all over Central Florida. Why don't security companies last? Like, what is it about this industry that they can't seem to make it for years?
I want the short answer?
Please, give it to me.
Companies don't care about the people.
Okay.
I mean, that's the short answer. They don't care. All they care about is making the buck. And I think it was something that we had discussed earlier in our other talk. I really feel that there's three components to a good deal.
Okay.
Obviously, it's Vital is the first component. The second component is the client. And the third is the officer. And you have to care about the officer. And it has to be part of what's going on. And I think, and that's the major difference. Because the larger companies just don't care. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times that transcends into client relationships too. And I think that's why I've been as successful as I've been, because I don't lose track of my clients. I've had clients for over 20 years. And I think it's important to keep that relationship going in the good and bad.
Sure. You have been, now I know a little bit about your history. You have been wildly successful within the industry, working for different companies. So you've proven that what you do works, not just with the big boys, but obviously what you're doing here at Vital and the growth that they've had. I got to ask you, are you tempted at all just to go for the dollar? Like, I mean, for the sale, as a salesman, I mean, you're out there, you're selling the product. There's a lot of people that would probably take on contracts that they shouldn't, oversell somebody and, maybe screw them on the rate if they could. I've gotten a chance to know you briefly. Doesn't seem like that's what you do on a day, but are you ever tempted to be that guy?
I'm hurt that you would ask me that.
Okay.
I'm teasing.
I got to know, but tell me.
No, I'm teasing.
Yeah.
I was taught the business at an early age, at an early career age.
Yeah.
Well, I was taught by an operations person, so not by a salesperson. So I learned the security business from an operations end, not from a sales end.
Got it.
The sales end was natural. I always had the sales end. And the security end was something that I learned first, so I know what's a good account. I know somebody, when I first started doing the business, the person that was teaching me the business said, would you want your son or daughter doing that post? And okay, nah, probably not. All right. I wanted to sell a job, for instance, when I first started, without a bathroom.
Okay.
And so my boss came to me and she said, where are they going to go? And I said, I don't know. They could leave and go to the, go to a store or something.
Convenience store or something.
Yeah. And she said, well, what happens when they leave their post? And I said, oh, okay. And I mean, so it's like things that you just don't think of, you think of. The environment. I'm not going to sell an environment that I wouldn't work on, or I wouldn't want to work, or I wouldn't want my son or daughter to work at. And I think that's important. I also want a client that is going to be responsive. In other words, if we take on a contract with a client, and they want us to do something, wonderful, we'll do whatever it is. We want that backup. So we're looking for that client that's going to work with us as a partnership, because it is a partnership.
Okay.
And I think that's key.
Well, I think one of the things that you've been successful at doing, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you do a great job of setting the expectation correctly with the client. Because in this industry, or any service industry, if you don't set the expectation correctly from the beginning, when the back end comes is when reality hits and people aren't happy. So is it a detailed approach that you take? Is it your experience that you bring to the table? How have you been able to set this such a great expectation? Honesty.
It is transparency. I mean, and that's what it is. I mean, it's just, I tell them what we can do, what we can't do. There are things a security officer can do, and there are things a security officer can't do. I don't advocate, for instance, looking for armed business, because people expect an armed officer to be able to do certain things. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that people understand the expectations of what they're getting into.
You mentioned earlier that you were moving into retirement. You loved what was happening though here in Vital Security, so you came back and you'd be here for 2 years. What motivates you? If it's not the money, if you were going to retire, so you had that, you're going to do that. What motivates you to put the level of care, concern, set these expectations, honesty? Why? What's the motivation behind this and who you are?
I think there's a couple things. I think, first of all, it's fun. I like doing the deal. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a salesperson.
Got it.
Okay? I inherently like doing a deal.
Got it.
Money's nice, okay? And when you wrap all that with a bow that's people that you like to work with, it's a no-brainer.
That's great. So the final question I have for you is the future of Vital Security. Where do you see, from a sales perspective and a company in general, where do you see things progressing or moving to in the next 12 months?
Well, I can see what's happened in the past year, and I think that's where we're going to be continuing. We were focusing a lot on residential when I first started. We've made a lot of strides, I think, which was interesting because of COVID. We had to kind of revamp our marketing efforts. For instance, we have an active shooter course that we offer, and I got that approved to do online. So now people can get credit in doing it online. And I think that's the kind of thing that I think was important to do.
Got it. And I think that you're right. You've got not only the security that you guys are doing, but you've got these courses. Then you've also branched out from residential into commercial.
And I think,
it's a little bit everything.
I think the commercial is really where we're heading. We're doing a lot of residential right now, and I think we're just starting to get our feet wet in commercial. We've got 5 clients right now. We're starting, and they're all pleased. And I think it's the kind of thing where I think it's only going to snowball.
Well, I think with you making the sales, I don't think there's going to be a problem in bringing new people on to the company.
I would never argue with you.
There you go. That's great. But I appreciate you taking the time with us today, because I think it's important to know, who's bringing on these contracts, and part of the reason that Vital has been so successful here in Florida.
Well, thank you.
Good deal, man. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Did you enjoy Madman, or was that?
You right?
Was that
I wouldn't be here if that was the case. I promise you, I wouldn't be here.